Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lexi. I'm coming in to talk to you guys tonight. Some juicy topics as usual. So remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Sit back and relax. Tonight's topic is about how long should you wait to move on from your ex? This is a juicy one, guys. A lot of people have been asking me this question. How long? So there's so much debate about that. I think I even heard up until one time is that however long you've been with the person, divide that in half, and that's how long it's going to take you to get over the person. Complete trash. So you mean to tell me if I'm with someone for 10 years, I have to wait 5 years before I'm eligible to date again because that person is still inside of me? If it takes you 5 years to get over anybody, then you need to have a immortal pill that you need to swallow, because you're going to need a lot of time and a lot of years in order to live life, in order to date again. Okay? The reality is, our life expectancy isn't until about mid-70s, 80s for ladies maybe. That's not long. That means if you're in your 30s, mid-30s, you're already at the halfway point. So if you listen to all these gurus and all these relationship coaches that are telling you guys to wait forever and a day to get with a man, what do I tell you guys? You're going to end up in the wheelchair. You're going to end up in the wheelchair in the old folks' home saying, I woulda, I coulda, I shoulda. So just do it, okay? Listen to what I've got to say tonight, okay? So let's just start with this. And the first thing you have to ask yourself is, why did you guys end in the first place? That's something that we always forget. Yeah, we always talk about the breakup. We're always listening to the song, Mariah Carey, we belong together, and who am I gonna lean on when time? And we're crying and we're sad. All the breakup songs. All of a sudden you're looking back on your pictures at your iPhone, day at the beach, the kisses, all that. That's what we think of when we think of breakup, but we don't really think about the why. And the why is very important. And that's why I tell you guys, gentlemen, make sure the woman has a moral compass. Because if you do right by her moral compass and what's right, and she knows in the deep of her heart of hearts that she lived and valued those views, then unless those views have been broken in any kind of way, or those vows, or those promises that were supposed to be kept in the beginning, then generally she's probably going to hang on because her moral compass is going to tell her when to leave. When you hear these breakups about, it's not you, it's me, we grew apart, I wanted to see what life had to offer, I wanted a better job, pretty much the BS excuses where I could do better, then that's a problem, ladies. That's a problem, ladies. And the reason why I'm singling out the ladies, because you usually only hear it from ladies. So many men get their hearts broken, get left in the dust, and they don't understand what they did wrong. They don't understand why their women just didn't want them anymore. However, like I do tell you guys, gentlemen, you have to stay on your game. You have to stay on your game, because a woman, we're like the people in the highway, we catch you sleeping. If you're sleeping, we're going to cut you off. We're going to cut you off, and we're going to get off at that exit, because you got to catch those drivers that are sleeping behind the wheel. We don't want to have you sleeping. We don't want to catch you sleeping. Don't fall asleep behind the wheels, fellas. Be on game. Like I said, watch what she's doing. The mind leaves first and the body leaves second. Be in tune with your woman. However, as for the women, make sure that you left for the right reasons. The times that it takes you to get over your ex, to just answer that question for you guys, I say no more than a year. Yep, I said it. A year max. Because after you've gone through your therapy, which you don't need to be in therapy for 10 years. If you need therapy for 10 years, go ahead and lock yourself up into a treatment facility, because you might need shock therapy. Okay? If you've been talking to your therapist about this breakup for years and years and years, at some point, therapy needs to move on to another subject, something else that you're dealing with, something else that's going on, but it should not still be about the ex. You have to be able to be in a mental space that you can put the past behind you, let bygones be bygones, and you can move on healthily into the next relationship without that baggage. especially if you're not a teenager, you're not in high school, it's not your first rodeo, then your mental health should be good enough to where you could say within a year, you know, this didn't work. This person left me on whatever grounds. And to me, I really truly believe sometimes, like I said, if the bond was broken on some grounds that were not concrete, then there are ways that you could work it out. There is hope for getting back with your ex. I do believe that. I believe that if the person truly loves you and it was something that really was not a deal breaker in your eyes, then I believe that you guys could get back together. You guys could work it out. Well, why am I so adamant about working it out? Because, you know, sometimes you've already gone through the work. Going out on these dates are no fun. Getting to know somebody new is no fun. Doing all those things are no fun. So sometimes it could work. But when there are grounds that cannot be there, that just can't be retrieved, can't be put back together, then sometimes, especially for women, I know it's easy for us to not look back. So many men, you guys say, oh, I cheated, I did this, and you're begging for her, and you're sending the flowers, and you're sending the roses, and you called her 50 million, 10, 11 times. You've gone crazy to try and get her to get you back. But the problem is that women with a moral compass and women that know what they're worth and women that get, that understand the why of why you cheated, or you're a repetitive cheater. You know, one-time cheating, okay, maybe. But if you're just a competitive cheater, you're just out there cheating to cheat, which, yes, I've dealt with, then you're a hot mess. You're disgusting. You need help. And you need to get on with your life and get with somebody else, because nobody's going to put up with that. A real woman is not going to put up with that. Because guess what? Even when we get back with your sorry behind, I said it. Even when we get back with your cheating, lying, sorry behind, we're thinking about that in our mind. That's why I keep telling you guys, it's not just women that are visual. Men that are visual, women are visual too. We're visual too. We think about that. We think about you kissing on her. We think about you laying with her. We think about you going that. Then want to drink out of my glass. Drink out of my kitchen glass, and I don't know where that tongue has been. Come on, guys. Try not to do it. I know you guys have this irresistible urge, and there are women I hear that don't put out. There are women I hear that, you know, run the man off a wall. There are women that sometimes it's just unbearable, and there are women that cheat too. So women, that's why I say, fellas, get a woman with a good moral compass, because I've been on the gentleman. But there are a lot of women that cheat as well, searching for that better, trying to social climb. A lot of women that cheat, they're social climbers. Usually if they cheat, they're trying to get better. They're trying to get out of their league. They're trying to land the big one. You know, if you got to land anything but a plane, then there's a problem, lady. You shouldn't be trying to land anybody. A man should be pursuing and wanting and going after you for that hand in marriage. If you are what you say you are, you shouldn't be trying to land nothing. Okay? So that's another problem with our society. Some of these women put themselves out there, again, on these level up channels, on these gold digging channels, on all these channels, you know, trying to be out there and pursue the men. This era is going to end badly. It's going to end badly. Know your role, know your place. So let's look up some grounds for divorce. Let's look up some grounds for breakup. I think that the law kind of sets a good precedence on what we should and should not be putting up with. So let's just see here. I'm going to pull it up. One of the reasons why should be intermarriage by people within the prohibited degrees of kinship. So let's not even talk about this. I mean, if you're sleeping with your family member, that's another broadcast. That's another channel. You might need a PhD to MD level, and that's just outside of my credentials. So we're going to move on to the next one. Mental incapacity at the time of marriage. You know, if it happens for ladies and gentlemen, people just are not mentally ready to go into a marriage. That makes sense on why you could leave. Force, menace, duress, or fraud in obtaining the marriage. There's people out there that do that. People out here with some fraud charges, walking around like they're Mother Teresa helping people. You know them. I know I could think of somebody off the top of my head. Be careful with these frauds. They're out there. Pregnancy by the wife, by a man other than the husband at the time of marriage. There we go with the ladies cheating. The mama's baby, papa's maybe. If you're worried or you're trembling about getting a DNA test on your child, gentlemen, run. Run. You shouldn't have to be worried about it. Even if you're married, if the husband might have been through something where he needs that peace of mind. But men, nowadays, there's any lab test now. There's hair follicles. You can take the child and do it yourself if you need to. But there should be no question on who your father is. So sometimes it's alarming to me that Maury still is the #1 show on cable television. Wow. It's shocking to me that Jerry Springer made his run for so long. All these shows for DNA tests. You know, so I can't sit here. In my world, it might be, oh, why would you need a DNA test? But I think looking at Maury, there's a whole population out there of women. And as you see, Maury's got women of all races on there that the men are not sure. That's not just black women. It's all kinds of women on there that just don't know who their baby daddy is. And imagine, that's the ones that's on cable television to get a check, to put themselves out there. Imagine the women walking around. Mama's baby, papa's maybe, guys. Make sure the woman has the moral compass. Make sure if there's ever question about anything, she's not worried about it, okay? Because in this culture, unfortunately, sometimes men do have to double check. As far as adultery during the marriage, now that's where it goes on either sides. Fellas, I'll just tell you this right now. If you got to break up based on adultery, like I said, if it's one time, sometimes that can be forgiven. I do believe that people make mistakes. Nobody's above anything. However, most of the time, you're going to see a habitual cheater out there. You guys know who you are. Sitting up there hooking up on these apps, and now there's Snapchat, and there's hooking, and there's all kinds of ways to get happy endings. And if that's what you guys got to do, and you're that kind of man or you're that kind of woman, shame on you. Don't be up in here in the relationship pool. There are people out here that really want an honest relationship. There are people out here that really want a loyal relationship. And it's not fair that these cheaters insert themselves in this population and want to be one of us. No, you're not looking for a relationship. You're looking for somebody that you can come home to as a front, to have on the front and as the face, and then by night, you want to be doing something else. And it's just not right. It's just not honest. And if you can't build truth in the marital bed, unless you guys have some open relationship, which I'm seeing polygamy now, that ain't my business. It's not my business, guys. But for those that want a monogamous, traditional relationship, cheaters, stay away. And ladies and gentlemen, beware, okay? So be careful. Desertion. The person wants to up and abandon you, not text you back, ghost you. There are relationships where people just go ghost. That's desertion, guys. If you got abandoned, you don't know where your girlfriend or your husband or your wife left, leave. Run. Because there's just no point. No point. Don't be out there, filing a missing persons report. The person ain't missing. They went ghost. Don't embarrass yourself down at the precinct trying to describe the last time you saw them in their shirt and their pants. Then while you're talking to them, you see the person posted on Facebook. Person snapped the photo. You're gonna look crazy at the precinct when you're telling them, sorry. They're alive. They're okay. Sorry for wasting your time. They just don't want to talk to you. They just don't want to be with you. Run, ladies and gentlemen. The conviction of a crime of moral turpitude that results in a prison sentence of 2 years or longer is The criminals, again, I could sit here and say, oh, not in my world. Where do they're out there. There's people out on bail, walking around every day. There's people out on bail trying to get in new relationships. Figure out, run the background check. Make sure you know what you're dating. Make sure you ask those questions. It's not as out there as people think it is. It happens. So make sure you're vetting. And that's why I always tell gentlemen and ladies, vet your partner. Vet the person you're with. Because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. And especially with the criminal background. Habitual intoxication. I've talked about this. I've talked about it too much times. These alcoholics, these are grounds. These are grounds now. Cruel treatment. You know, unfortunately, abuse happens. Then there's habitual drug addiction. Why does it feel like the grounds for divorce was everything I dealt with in my first marriage? Wow. Almost everything. Habitual drug addiction, we don't really need to talk about that. However, as we know with drugs, even if you're clean 6 years, 5 years, relapse is real. You know, those things are real, they happen. And it's sad, and it's definitely something that, again, as the wife or as the woman that chooses to be with this kind of man, just know that this is what you signed up for. So I don't like to make a sob story and explain all these different things of why. The point is, everybody has a choice. Everybody decides. God was nice enough to leave us with free will. So if you wanted to sign up for the long and hard road, which a lot of women do, thinking we can fix the person, thinking we can help the person, and you end up just hurting yourself. And that's what happened. It's okay to say, I feel like a lot of my time was wasted trying to help someone, and I could have been being more productive in my life. I could have been accomplishing things off my, yes, I did learn a lesson, but sometimes it doesn't take you 6 years to be in a jacked up relationship to learn the lesson. In the first year, if you see the person's out of control, off the rocker, psycho, not okay, not stable, needs help, needs better upbringing, needed better everything, then it's time for you to leave. I don't stand for the, oh, I lived and I learned. You know, for 10 years, it was a chaotic mess. For 10 years, you lost more than you received. For 10 years, you got more abuse than you got benefit. Then you're an idiot. I'm just going to be real with you guys. There's a winning team and a losing team. And for that time, I was definitely on the losing team. You're on the losing team when you're getting more cons than you are pros. Because you don't need a lot of time to see that you're going down the wrong road and that the person has the capability of slipping back. And you know that. You know that with the people. So if those are your grounds for leaving and your moral compass is up and you're like me and you know that this was my checklist, these were the violations of my checklist, as a result, I've got to leave the situation. And for gentlemen, you got to look at, this is the kind of man I am. This is the kind of values I have. This is the kind of wife I want. And if there were any type of violations to that list, then that's the reason why you broke up, then that's okay. If that's the why on why you broke up, then that's okay. Gentlemen and ladies, you're free to move on. It should only be a year, no longer than that. A year or less is my timeline. Life is too short to be out here talking about your ex 6 years later, okay? Nobody cares. Unless they're dragging you up in their daily life and talking about you all day. There's men I know that still talk about their ex-wife, still talk about their ex-girlfriend, still talk about that as if it was yesterday. Those people haven't moved on, ladies. Those people haven't moved on, gentlemen. It's okay to talk about it as a point of reference of, this is what I've been through, this is what happened, this is what went wrong, this is what I want, this is what went right, boom, boom. But when it's daily, what happened in the last, one night we went here, the other night, I don't care. Nobody cares. When it gets to the level of explaining your day-to-day and you felt like you were in that marriage with them, you felt like you were sitting with the wife, you felt like you were at the table with them the morning they had that breakfast, you felt like you know every ins and out, you feel like you know the woman more than you know the man, run. Or you feel like, gentlemen, you know her ex more than you know her. You felt like you were in the marital bed. You felt like, wow, I see them doing things that my mind shouldn't even be going to because she talks about him so vividly, so clearly. Run. This is not somebody you want. This is someone that's stuck on an ex. This is someone that literally has the ex, they might have your body, but your face has been cut off, and the ex is who they see. And this could go on for years if they haven't taken the proper tools to get over the person. And usually these come from people that are not mentally stable. I said it, they're not mentally stable. So, ladies and gentlemen, it should be a year or less. Have your grounds for why you left. Have grounds for why you should stay. I don't stand for the irreconcilable differences. We just agree to disagree. We're going to leave. That's that Hollywood answer. That's the Cali answer. That's the I got so much money you can't count why, that's why we're divorcing answer. If you're in that caliber of celebrity, of course, I'm sure there's reason. But for us, general, regular people that want a relationship, try to make it work. Unless those are the grounds. Unless you have solid grounds. And something else that's not in there, that needs to be in there, humongous religious differences. If there's religious differences in how you want to have faith. That's a big thing for people, your faith. If your faith is something that is challenged in the relationship, maybe that is grounds for divorce or grounds for a breakup. But if those are not major reasons, ladies and gentlemen, then please remember that if there's a will, there's a way. You probably can work it out. And as far as desertion goes, I know we talk about abandonment being, the person physically leaving, but it also could be abandonment sexually. Okay? If your spouse or your significant other has abandoned you sexually in the bedroom, grounds to leave. Intimacy is the key. Intimacy is the key. A lot of times, if you just had that intimacy that same morning, and you might have had it in the evening, then it probably doesn't matter that he left the toilet seat up. Probably didn't matter that he got home a little bit later than he said he would. Probably didn't matter that he ran a little bit overtime at his job. It probably didn't matter that, he forgot to do the dishes, because the intimacy is there. It's so easy to go College Park on somebody if you're not being intimate, if there's nothing there. If there's no chemistry, if there's no hand on your shoulder, there's no small kiss, there's no sweetie, honey, darling, baby. These are words that need to stay in the relationship constantly, all the time. Genuinely. Don't just say it. Some people say it, okay, honey, okay, darling. They're mad. They're using it as a sarcasm. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the people that really genuinely and sensually say, honey, didn't you want to come with me? Babe, are you hungry? I was going to get something to eat. Sweetheart, do you want some coffee? And the gentleman, yes, babe, I do. These are the words and the way that the intimacy and that the physical relationship is so important, because it does minimize, I don't care what anybody says, it does minimize the arguments and the tension. So even if sometimes, okay, some women, I'm not in the mood, which for whatever reason, probably because she's working like a slave, or, whatever reason why women are not in the mood, which happens, we should still be giving intimacy to our partner. So if you're deadly tired and you're not in the mood, you should still be putting your arm around him, maybe kissing on him, maybe stroking his back, rubbing on him, doing something to show, I might be tired just for tonight. Let me sleep, pump it back up for whatever reason. But I'm still showing you 100% that, you're everything to me. I'm sleeping still next to you. I want you to know that I'm close to you. These are things that's still showing that, okay, gone, it's kind of like when you see people, when you go to the Walgreens, the pharmacist at lunch for an hour, but she'll be back. They leave that little note on the door. Gone for a little bit, but I'll be back. So if you got to take a little break, that's fine. Not in the mood, that's fine, but you need to be back. Don't leave the pharmacy hours. Don't leave all these people without medicine. Same thing like your husband. Don't same like your man. Don't leave that person neglected, because that's also desertion. Okay, that's abandonment. So with all of those things in mind, remember that time to get over your ex is a year or less. And remember those tips, remember those pointers. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like and subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.